Welcome back to BLOCKTV. Crypto mining. While once a global force who at its peak had an energy output comparable to the entire nation of Ireland, today that landscape is greatly changed. With the crypto winter causing many digital mining companies to close down, those that are hanging on have had to find clever tactics to stay afloat. Joining me now is one such survivor, co-founder and CEO of Genesis Mining and self-professed believer in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, Marco Streng. Marco, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Marco, just talk us through mining in 2019. What does the landscape look like? What are you up against in this competitive environment?
Well, mining has become a heavy industry, and it has really shifted from the beginning where people were mining at home to really large-scale players increasing their operations. And of course, the Cryptowinter now has really put the whole mining space into a big challenge. And right now, only the most efficient miners can survive, and they are getting more market share now, while the others that are not so efficient have to drop out.
So, I mean, the Genesis Group started back in 2013 and Genesis Mining in 2014. I mean, talk us through how your operation has evolved in those years, going through those peak times back in 2017 and now through to 2019.
Well, it was a hard ride, so to speak. I think we have learned a lot in those years, and we have constantly improved our operations in many ways and via a lot of iterations. Those optimizations come from three components. First, of course, you have the chip level, the efficiency on the chip, on the mining chip. Secondly, you have the infrastructure level, meaning the data centers that can be highly optimized for mining. And thirdly, of course, which is very important, you have the expenses and generally the costs, that particularly means the electricity costs. And so there is a constant hunt for places in the world where electricity is cheapest and where the mining can be done most efficiently.
And exactly, I want to drill down to that point of the efficiency and sort of cost scale of these things. I mean, when you think of crypto mining, you think of large scale, heavy machinery, computing power, expensive upfront costs, storaging and warehouse. What are you doing to sort of try and maximize your capability to actually profit in this environment?
Well, I think the most important thing is really to be aware of all the factors involved and really to optimize in any way possible, because right now really the crypto winter shows no mercy. So everyone who is able to really reduce the cost to a minimum and survive in these days will be rewarded, because the basically not so profitable or not so efficient miners have to drop out. And it's quite remarkable. I think we have realized also over the years that, for example, our initial build-outs, our first generations of data centers, how much you can tune them and how much you can increase the efficiency. And of course, also we have found places in the world that I could never have imagined, really far beyond like any civilization, and where the electricity is really, the production of electricity is lowest. And from there we basically we learned over various iterations, and now we are in this lucky position that we are in the crypto winter, and we're able to perform and even expand our operations.
Okay, but Marco, you say, I mean, you found these places where you're getting cheap electricity, you've used techniques that have managed to keep you afloat, cost-cutting measures, but give us some examples, drill down to us, what are some of the specific uses you've done that have kept you guys alive where others have fallen by the wayside?
Okay, so first I think is the, of course, on the layouts of the data centers. How can you increase the infrastructure to really at the maximum level? And that, for example, is one important factor is the cooling. So you can use expensive active cooling systems, or you can just make use of your environment and use cold air from outside. Then you can, on the machine level, you can of course optimize the chip. That's one, of course, that you have to make sure you have always the highest iteration, the most efficient chip. But on the other factors around it, like the PCBs, like how the form factor of the machines is placed, and also which kind of frequency the chip runs at. So there's also a fine grade of optimization due to frequency tuning, which we're doing internally too, and that of course plays a major role too. So there's many of these components. Another thing is, for example, also on the algorithm side. For example, there's a whole scientific research how to maybe optimize even the algorithms, like things like early terminations or early termination, when you, for example, see that one hashing operation will not succeed in finding the block, you terminate it early, and you can gain some speed on that. I mean, I don't want to get too technical, but it's a lot of money at stake. So there's a whole science and a whole research field around optimizing these mining facilities to the absolute maximum.
And talking about that sort of that research and development sort of end of things, I mean, as the market grows older, you know, we've seen Bitcoin now and its 10-year anniversary mark. Are we seeing a maturing of the market on that mining side as well?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think that comparing to the quantum leaps that have been done in the initial years, where you had like every 6 months major milestones or major gains in efficiency just on the chip level, now it really becomes more gradual, and that we're seeing slower increases of efficiency, and that also is what I'm saying. It's really become a heavy industry, and comparing it to the beginning of the gold mining, for example, people were able to go in the gold rivers and find the gold nuggets, and now there's big capex involved, large commitments, and you have to be really fully committed to the space in order to place a bet on mining in a large scale. And of course, we offer that to our customers in the cloud, so that they don't have to take these huge upfront commitments and can buy their hashing power in the cloud. But exactly that is what we think is very important, because our goal is to let everybody be able to participate in mining. And unfortunately, this is only possible now for large-scale players. So we, as being a large-scale player, we give this entry to the mining market to everyone, to the masses, and offer the mining in the cloud. And I think that's very important also for the whole industry.
Okay, and talking about those investors, I mean, what brings an investor to come and incentivize them to come and mine with you? I mean, what's the advantage there to just going out and buying their own coins directly off the marketplace? What's the mining advantage?
Well, compared to buying, I don't even want to compare that necessarily. I think it's two very important asset classes. You can buy the coins directly, or you can mine them. And I think personally, it makes sense, if you want to get exposure to the space, it makes sense to have a healthy portfolio of both. Similar to gold, you can mine gold and you can also buy gold. But what we can say to the miners is that, comparing to what they can achieve if they would do it in their home and do it alone, they will have to overcome a lot of hurdles, and would quickly realize also their electricity costs at home is not comparable, and getting less and less competitive. And of course, all these economies of scale, that the benefits you have through to economy of scale, and all the knowledge that we have gathered over the last 5 years of operation, this is what we're giving to our customers, so that they can mine with the highest efficiency and get the best out of their get the best back for their investment in mining.
And Marco, as well, I mean, we've got an important date coming up next year. I believe it's May 2020, the what's been named the Halving, when Bitcoin values are going to be cut in half for mining. How is this going to impact your business model, and do you think you're going to be able to ride through this next milestone?
This is not the first halving we have overcome, and I personally think that halving is an important factor for Bitcoin. I think it's important that it's there, obviously, because of the economics, the fundamental economics, and the limit, the fact that Bitcoin is limited at 21 million. So you have to have these halving elements. I think for the mining space, it's actually also great because it strengthens the competitiveness of the whole industry. As comparable to the winter now, it will have a similar effect. Only the most efficient players will be able to remain, and that of course drives everyone to innovate and stay ahead of the curve. And if you can do so, then you have a great chance to overcome those times and continue to produce.
And Marco, projecting ahead, looking forward to 2020 and beyond, I mean, do you think Genesis has what it takes to be one of those staying players, those guys who have that staying power to keep in the industry into the future?
Well, I mean, we have been operating now since 5 years, since really the beginning of the industry. By that time, really people were still mining at home. And of course, the advantage that we have is the time and all the experience that we have done within the space. And we are doing everything, of course, to stay ahead of the curve and constantly reinvest in our technologies. We have really done major investments over the last years to be able to offer now to our customers, for example, something which is called Radiant, which basically is the technology that consists of all these benefits that we have made over time. It also uses our in-house optimization tool, which we call Genesis Hive, which basically optimizes these data centers to a maximum. And yeah, I mean, I think that blockchain and blockchain infrastructure mining is our daily bread and butter. And this is where we are strong at, this is where we are come from, and this is where we are going further.
All right, there. Thanks so much, Marco Streng, co-founder and CEO of Genesis Mining. I look forward to seeing what comes out in the future in mining technology. All right, and stay with us. You can continue to follow us online on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or at our website at blocktv.com. I'm Asher Westrov Evans. Thanks for watching.